Okay. Stuart, Mayanti, and Champion in the background. Welcome to the podcast. Very excited. So nice to see both of you together. Really excited. I'm really looking forward to this.
Thanks. Yeah, it's been exciting. Yeah. I mean, we've not done much work together because of our professions. Obviously, me on the ground and she on
Yeah.
television. So we haven't really spent much time on camera or on interviews together. So it's exciting for us as well.
Yeah. Mayanti and I
Yeah, I
were
think it's the
catching up.
first time
Yeah.
someone had us
Yeah.
together, yeah,
Yeah.
to have a chat. So it's we're actually we don't know how either of us can answer the questions. It's kind of funny. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a conversation. We are just like you said, right? Like you said, individually, we've both known you in your spaces, but like we were speaking about before we began recording as well. The game is much more than just bat and ball and stadium and lights and broadcast and all of that, right? There are humans that are involved in the game that have everyday lives as well. So once in a while, to look beyond the technical side is something we can do, and I think I'm very excited. Really looking forward to it. And first of all, congratulations on being parents. Last year or so has been quite the ride, I'm sure. And he's turning one real soon, isn't he? There he is in the background. What's that been like?
Yeah, it's been exciting. It's completely different, I guess, than the life that we were used to. Because we
Yeah,
were on the road most of the time. But
yeah.
when he came along, obviously came along at a time where we were in the pandemic as well last year.
Mm,
So
mm,
that was a bit rough because we couldn't really meet people, meet our friends.
mm.
No one really saw Mayanti through her pregnancy when she was carrying him. Like even her parents,
You couldn't make it.
weren't able to come. So it was a bit strange, but I think hands off to her the way she went about those times. I mean, I was still playing a bit of cricket at that time. I was still traveling, playing a little bit of cricket here and there,
Yeah.
and even through that, I think she was strong, as you see, alone.
Can't keep them out
And
of range.
yeah, it was a bit strange to be honest because you really don't have a lot of people around you when you actually need it then
Mm,
because our lives were so different. I mean, we didn't really need too many people because we were always traveling plane. But when he was, uh, he was in her tummy, I think that's the time when she needed, people around her, I guess,
mm.
and mentally to, kind of boost her through that. But having said that, I mean, look at where we've gone. I mean,
Yeah.
he's almost 10 months now, and things have been good.
You
And
might. Yeah.
it's like when it's been a pandemic, it's been so tough on everyone. You're not working and you're at home, and some people have lost their jobs, and things have been incredibly difficult for a lot of people. I think the pregnancy, in a sense, happened at the right time because I was able to host till I was 5 months pregnant, and would have continued to do so. IPL had it gone on in March,
Yeah.
so I was very fortunate that my network and Stuart supported me to be able to do that, and. I had a reason to stay at home and be indoors and stay safe, So on one hand, staying indoors, we had him to look forward to.
Mm,
And we haven't missed out on any moments because we've done this just by ourselves. So we've haven't missed out on those moments of parenthoods and milestones and things like that. So it's been kind of tough and isolating, but also great at the same time because we've had something to look forward to in
yeah.
what has been really tough for other people.
Yeah. My sister-in-law is carrying right now, and she's in Singapore. She's due in a couple of months, and it's the exact same thing that's happened to her as well. Same like you, both of them were absolute career people, really accomplished, and suddenly, this happened, and she tells me that despite all of it, and that her parents couldn't fly from India to Singapore, be with her during the pregnancy, the experience in itself, Mayanti, was so divine for her that that it did make a difference. But at the same time, she's so into it, and she feels so blessed to carry their child, that it's an experience that she's never experienced before. You know what I'm saying? How's it been like for you, to go through motherhood and now to have Champion in your arms now? What does it feel like?
I I think it's very natural because, as Stuart mentioned previously, our careers have short shelf lives. So we always knew that starting a family is something that will probably happen later as compared to other people, because we only have that sort of time, in a way, to be in our peak. So it did happen very naturally for us. And I think Stu has always been a dad before I became a mom. Before we had him,
How
he's
sweet.
always had that instinct
Yeah.
in him.
Yeah.
He's very nurturing. So I don't think we struggled with the role of being parents exactly, because it just the second he was born, that's it. Your parents, and it comes very naturally. And we're very fortunate, has been a relatively easy child. He's made things a lot simpler for us, that we haven't had too many tough times. And I'll be very honest, I think had the pandemic not happened, we would have looked to travel with him and with Stuart in his season, and be there and watch him play cricket, or be there with me while I'm hosting, and I would have returned to work for sure. I think the only thing that's kind of stopped us from doing that is the pandemic, and his safety is a priority. But we always had intentions to get back out there as soon as possible, as long as he's comfortable, because we want him to see his daddy.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, obviously, it'd be nice to take your kid to the ground, crawl around, walk around, run around.
Yeah.
But obviously, those things haven't happened, and I don't know whether it will happen, because I don't know how long I'm going to be playing. And with the pandemic reaching its peaks, and things are gone, it's I don't know whether he'll ever be able to even watch me play the ground. But I guess that's life. I mean, you've got to take that in your stride and carry on. I mean, as long as he's happy and he's safe, as she said, is our number one priority. So I guess that's what we're looking at the moment.
Does he show signs of liking cricket?
No, not at all.
Really?
I mean, he's just about getting the hang of throwing stuff slowly. So,
have you exposed him to you playing on the web, or Mayanti, you on screen? Have you shown him, hey, this is Mama, this is Papa? Have you done that?
He's too young, Sumedh. He's barely 10 months. So it's too young to process any of these things. He doesn't even speak yet. Yeah. And actually, we've been the kind of parents who've tried to keep screen time away, unless it's, of course, FaceTiming with parents and things like that, because that's the only way he sees family.
Yeah.
No, he loves he's a lot like Stuart. He loves the outdoors. He sits for hours in front of this window and talks to people on the road, and he's made friends with all the dogs that go for a walk, and he talks to the crows, and he's got Stu's build already. They look this ditto when they were this age. So I'm pretty sure he'll have the athletic genes. But whatever he wants, we will encourage him to play sports, because sports has been everything for us, even if it's just for hobby and fun. We're not going to push him into anything. Whatever he wants to do, we'll try with him.
Have you been bored with I think you've been, I'm not sure if people have already asked you this, third generation cricketer or second generation broadcaster? Have they asked you this?
More so third generation test cricketer. Everyone wants to be a third, not even cricketer, test cricketer. Like they've already put pressure on you.
Look, I mean, I have got it before. I mean, like for my teammates, stuff like that, there's another, Binny in the making. But as I said, I mean, even with me, with my dad, I mean, it was just a hobby. It was something just to go out and play sport, Cricket wasn't everything.
Yeah.
I mean, we did.
And you played hockey growing up.
I played hockey growing up.
Exactly. Yeah.
But then, in schools that we went to asked us to choose one sport so we could, streamline in that direction. So I went into cricket, obviously, because I found it a lot less on my body at that time, because all my fingers were getting.
Oh God, hockey's strenuous. Hockey's
crazy. You got hit badly.
I got hit on the head and cut. So I said, it's better I run and bowl rather than run around the ball. But then I didn't know that in the years to come that you still get hit on the head playing cricket as well. So it was a bit too late then.
I have no idea. I mean, this happens a lot, right? People really assume that because their parents are in that space, that their child will also be doing the same thing. Which is why I asked if he's got any interest in cricket, not if he's going to be a broadcaster or cricketer. That's just crazy.
At the moment, he's got no interest. He's got only interest in crawling around the whole house at home.
So he's an active baby.
Very.
Yeah, she told me that when we spoke last time. He's very active.
Yeah, in fact, I was mentioning to Sumedh that I've only just started working out again. Because, we went alone with him and still. And now he's old enough to sit on the, in the pram on the terrace, and he's not very impressed with me working out at all. But when I run around the terrace, he gets very excited because so my child is encouraging me towards fitness, which is great. So that's the only thing that makes him laugh is if I run. So mummy just to run for like 45 minutes and he's happy.
You laugh at mummy when she runs.
Really?
You laugh at mummy.
Mummy when she runs. Nah.
Yes, Stuart, I mean, you really look natural at this, don't you? I mean, like Mayanti said, it seems like you've really grown in, you haven't really had the need to grow into this. It comes so real to you, isn't it?
I mean, I was also a bit surprised. I mean, I've got two sisters who have kids, but they live in Sydney. So I really never spent too much time with their kids while they were growing up, only during Christmas when they used to come over. Yeah. But I think that instinct comes, as soon as he was born, I don't know, it's just something inside you triggers, I guess. About just where he is, the awareness of what he's doing, where he could tumble and fall, or just came very naturally to me. I mean, I'm someone I would just wouldn't walk to the room, like without even thinking of stuff like that. And I don't know, as she said, it was nothing that I did like research on, or went and said, okay, should I be like this or should I be like that? It just came naturally to me. And it's worked so far, so I can't complain, I guess.
And as Stu mentioned previously, we couldn't have as many people around us as you can when you have when you're new parents. So we were just forced into those roles in a good way. You had to get over whatever fear or apprehension you had about being a new parent, which it can be really scary, and just go with the flow. Be like, okay, he's crying in the middle of the night. Okay, can't just hand him over to somebody. We've got to.
I think that's what helped us also, because we didn't have that help. So you have to go through it yourself. Like in the middle of the night when he was crying, whether it was, his stomach must have been hurting, gas. We didn't know because we didn't have help. We didn't have people to say, this is, right, this is wrong. We just tried whatever we could, and everything fell in place. I guess you get to, you learn by yourself. You learn by making those small mistakes and, or maybe doing the right things, not even mistakes. So
exactly. We've been talking about the macro, but Stuart, you've got any micro tips for me in the future? It's not happening soon. I'm getting married soon. Will say that again?
Just be yourself. I mean, you'll find out a lot of things when your child does come about you as well. I mean, because I had never thought in those directions, those lines, right? Just only thinking about practice, sleep, workout.
No sleep.
Repeat, stuff like that. And then obviously when she was carrying, it's a bit different because your mind goes there as well. How is she? I wonder how he is or she is at that time. We didn't know. So I guess you just play it by ear and just try and be there and be confident through it, I guess.
So change the diapers is a good start.
My start hasn't yet. I'm not very good at that as yet. I still struggle. Thank God for the mask. That has 100 masks around in my house because of the pandemic. So I use 2-3 sometimes, but it's something that I'm still figuring out with the nappy change. But the rest is okay. I mean, I can build in through the day, like without things being around. So I'm okay with that.
I think it was Ryan Gosling who said, I mean, if you're married to a woman and you're a man, then the least you can do is change the diapers because she's carried a living being in her stomach for 9 months.
I tried a bit. So in the beginning, the key was to try.
No, Stuart, I'm not here to give you tips. I'm the one taking tips here. So not at all.
You just have to try in the beginning and then slowly taper off, I guess.
It's very true. But quite the journey, you guys. I mean, incredible. When I think about it, right? My mind goes back to 2008 ICL. That interview. I know you're bored talking about this, but I still have to ask you. Mayanti, tell me the real story behind that interview. Yeah,
the one that's suddenly doing the. So Stu was very close. So ICL was a first for me in terms of cricket. I just never followed cricket before that. So I was really not aware of who people were. And I remember when someone once pointed out, that's Roger Binny's son. And it had nothing for me. It really meant nothing. I'll be very honest. I mean, that's my cricket knowledge. I knew nothing. I had to literally learn it overnight. So Stu was very close to the production team, and we were all the same age. There was a very young group of people that were working behind the scenes in ICL and setting it up. And he was in a relationship, and good luck. He was in a relationship, and they just told me that, look, this was, I think, the third season, that, it's great. Stu had done very well in the second season. He and Ambati Raidu were one of the star players. And they were like, so Stuart is going to be the first interview of the season. And, in the end, he's just got engaged. So make sure you mention that. Like, great. So this is your producer feeding you information. I, at that time, was not as friendly with Stuart. We hadn't really had too much of a conversation apart from on the field.
Wow, Mayanti, you look like you knew him for 20 years.
I think someone set me up, dude.
Wait, you look like you knew him for 20 years on that interview. I'm not kidding. You're good. My God.
I've never even spoken before that.
That was like our first real conversation. And I was very respectful of the fact that he was in a relationship, right? I was just doing, asking a cheeky question because I was clearly very set up in that situation. But the funny thing is that is what got us talking, because I'm like, oh, listen, I'm so sorry, I didn't know. And a couple of months later, or a significant amount, we stayed in touch. And I think about a year or so later after that is, when we had the conversation about us.
Really?
So,
Yeah.
And there's one thing that you say a lot, Mayanti, is that when that happened and when you began, you all were both nowhere. It was nothing's going for the both of you, right? Talk me through what that phase was like, because and then once you all met, things began working.
After that, I think our relationship, or the start of our relationship, I think coincided with the fact that ICL was no more, and BCCI had not offered amenities. So Stuart was in a situation where he is a cricketer who cannot play cricket. I mean, he couldn't even go to, let's say, the Chinnaswamy and practice. He had nothing. And my network was on the verge of shutting down. So I left just before they closed shop. So I had just put my foot out there to start freelancing. And that was what I meant, was that when we met, it was a great period for us to get to know each other, but we never knew that our lives would take the turn, or that cricket would bring us so much after. We had no idea that, one day he would play for the country, or that I would be able to host World Cup matches and, things like that. So that's what I meant. It's not that we were nothing. We were, of course, something.
So you said it that way. That's all I said.
I mean, we weren't professionally.
I guess in hindsight, when you look at it, that's how you feel, right? That you feel like you were quote unquote nothing, but you obviously were.
I think someone did quote that.
Correct. Exactly.
Yeah, we were working.
This is the problem usually.
We were working to a goal, I guess. And what happened, I think, us being together and supporting each other, the goals were a lot easier to achieve.
Yeah.
Because you had that support, you had that, talk where you could really talk to someone rather than, don't know who to talk to when you're going through stuff. So I think that's where it freed up a lot of things for us. When it came to, which way and direction that we had to go. And obviously we both worked hard at it at that time. So,
sorry, mummy's boy.
So I guess that's what happened with us. We just, were there for each other, listened to each other's journeys, and then worked hard and things worked out for us.
But I think Stu is kind of simplifying it, because I think in my case, maybe I did have opportunities to, pick up gigs as a freelancer, which I did. It wasn't the high profile gigs just yet, but I was getting jobs. He didn't have anything for over a year until BCCI followed and said, okay, if you leave your contract money and you just forego everything. And we're talking about significant sums, like life-changing sums. To not be welcomed back into the system, he had to start with club cricket again. It's not like he walked back into the Ranji Trophy team.
Yeah, exactly.
He had to club cricket and work his way and earn that trust and, do the hard rounds again. And that is why, if you think of the fact that Ambati and Stu have actually gone on to play for the country after losing and having to give up everything, it's a huge deal. For both of them. They worked incredibly hard to get there, and all that work behind the scenes. It wasn't as simple to say you're welcome back to the system, because you weren't really welcome.
I mean, obviously we weren't allowed to go and practice because we were banned. We couldn't train, we couldn't go to gyms. I mean, we had to do everything. To be honest, I didn't play much cricket that year at all. I just probably sat at home, met my friends, did normal stuff that a cricketer does.
That was an important age for you in terms of a cricketer's growth. That's an important time. Yeah.
Actually, that was the stage where I was learning, picking up stuff.
Exactly.
So I just the ICL, right? So you learned a lot from those guys, which you wanted to come back and implicate or use, right? And you didn't have the opportunity to play cricket to use it.
Yeah.
So obviously went back to club cricket with Karnataka. I mean, I had to go back to that. I had already played first class cricket, but they, in order to prove a point, made me go back to do well again. And obviously, I had to prove a point to them as well that I was still good enough and to get runs and wickets and to come back into that first class setup. And I did work hard through that, obviously, and did well through that. And in a couple of years, I was captaining Karnataka
Yeah.
from not being, in that 30 for that year.
And I'm sure that's
So
very special. That was very special, wasn't it?
obviously, captain Karnataka is
Born and
is a
raised,
dream.
and yeah.
Yeah, you've always wanted to walk out, in a Ranji Trophy game with leading your side. And I did it for a couple of seasons, and then after that, someone else took over captaincy, and it freed me up a little bit when it came to my game.
Yeah.
And then the IPL, I had a couple of good seasons, 2-3 seasons in the IPL, and it really took off from then. And I knew
it
as a
did.
cricketer then I belonged there basically. I belonged, and I could perform at the big circuit. So once that happened, obviously when the India call came, I mean you are somewhat ready, but not sure, I guess.
Yeah.
So you've got to fight a lot of demons through that process. And
Yeah,
then slowly, when you slowly go out and play and do well and, contribute to a team winning ways,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you get that confidence
Yeah.
to say, I belong to types. So
Yeah.
it's been quite a up and down journey, I guess.
Yeah. Do you reckon the one innings that encapsulates what you just said right now is the second innings performance on your test debut in England, where you went out there, not sure what's happening, hung around, and then 78 on debut, you would take that, right? I mean, that's
I would
incredible.
have taken even 7 minutes on debut, to be honest. At
amazing.
that stage, to survive there for
Yeah,
7
exactly.
minutes was huge at that point.
Yeah.
Because obviously we were struggling at that time, and we needed to bat for 6 hours to save that test match.
Yeah.
So we lost wickets like in a heap in the beginning. So I was all over the place. I didn't pad. So I have a routine, right, to pad up, which I didn't do. I just put on this glove, that glove, because I had to hurry down the Trent Bridge. You got to come down steps, go through the crowd, and then out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it got so much going on at that time. So not even figured out. But even take my guard. I normally take a leg stump guard. I took a middle stump guard in that.
Yeah. And you wondered why.
I was all over. Then I played 2 balls, and then I said, you know what? I'm a leg stump guard batsman. What am I doing on middle stump? And then went back to leg stump. How much can I get leg stump now? So that first 5-7 minutes is all fuzz basically. You just don't know what's going on. But then obviously what happens is years of Ranji Trophy. I had already played 8 seasons. I've been in that situation before. And Trent Bridge, the ball was reverse swinging at that time. So I just went back to a place that, I did it in domestic cricket day out. And, what did I do then? I kind of went back to that game, to that mindset of, I'll hang around, let me not take a chance because it'll end everything. So I hung around for that first hour and a half.
Back to experience.
Yeah, just played like no shots, no scoring. I said, runs doesn't.
Yeah.
I just hung around and stuff. And then when I saw the time getting close, we needed like 40 minutes to go. I said, listen, I need to get some runs.
Yeah.
And I opened up slowly, and played a few shots. I played my game. I think it just freed me at that time because I knew I had done a job, and now my other job was to score runs. Because if you don't score runs, you don't survive, basically. No one looks at time over there. That's so true. I knew on my test debut that if I wanted a 50 on debut, basically. So I went for that 50. As soon as I hit 35, I knew I hit 2 sixes and a 2 fours, and I'm through here. So I played in that mindset and that mode, basically, to get to 50. Then before I knew, I was batting 78. And just at that time, my guy sent out an instruction saying, go for 100. I had not even thought of that 100. The minute I thought of that 100, I got out the next ball. So it is funny how things work. You'll be like, okay, now let me go back a gear,
The whole focus on the process.
Overdrive at that time, just playing shots and getting boundaries, and Moeen Ali was flighting. I said, I'll take him on and stuff like that. And as soon as the message came, I said, okay, I'll play defense, and I played and I missed. So on the way back, I'm like, I'm never going to change my game again in my life.
Natural instinct. Yeah. Mayanti, would you pick the 78 in England or 6 for 4? What would you pick? People have asked him. I wouldn't know from you.
Yeah, no, I would pick the entire. I think the entire. I would pick the 78 in England. I mean, it's your test debut.
Of course, yeah.
For most cricketers, and I know Stuart is like that, even though he's a little old school in his thought, but also kind of new generation, because he's had a chance to kind of play with both generations. When I say that he's played with Rahul Dravid and then he's played with KL Rahul, So I know that playing Test cricket for Stuart has been the pride. And it's been the pride for our family as well, because we both love Test cricket individually as well. We love that format. It doesn't matter who's playing, we'll watch it. So I know a debut in England against Broad and Anderson at the peak of their prowess. I mean, it's a story, Yes, of course, the 6 for 4 is huge. No one's ever going to downplay that. And that's just there, that's the record. That's what you have. That ball is lying at home. But the memory and the pressure and where he was mentally for that Test debut, I mean, that's, those are things that people don't know. So those are the things I think that
see, a lot of people go for Test series, right? But they sit for 3-4 Test matches, get a feel of what's going on, what's Test cricket. Session-wise, what are bowlers trying to do? I was just like, I flew in, I played 1 or 2 county games on the side. I got a 90 in the previous game, and then they said, listen, you're playing. So all your planning happens right there. Like in your hotel room, you plan and you bat and plan.
How did you react to it when you got the news?
Of me playing in the 11?
Yeah.
So a couple of days before that, obviously, it's in your next sessions, you're playing because the batting order bats, right?
Of course.
Yeah, and at that time, we had Rahul Dravid was with us at the batting consultant. So obviously, I spent a lot of time in the nets with him,
And in your childhood as well?
Yeah, so he basically knew my game inside out. He had seen me through the IPL. He was my captain. He'd seen me club cricket, everywhere. So basically, he was just trying to give me confidence. He said, the Test cricket is not any different. You just got to be a little bit more disciplined, basically. You've got to give yourself more time. See, in Ranji Trophy cricket, you get a bad ball every over, or maybe 2. When Test cricket, you get it in 7 overs. So you've got to wait for that ball. Keep waiting for that. Don't go searching. And in the first inning, I searched and got out at point. Basically, searched to push that covers, basically. And they opened covers for me at that time. So that's the mistake I made straight away. So then you go back to your room and they did it again. And they scored outside, and I just didn't touch anything, So you learn from every small mistake. And he was there mentally, basically, for me. Don't worry about it. Don't think about it as Test cricket. Don't leave the bowler alone. Just watch the ball and play what you know. So that's the process I had the previous night and the 2 days till I could do the Test match.
Yeah, and he's been there for you since your childhood as well, right? Mayanti told me this story about Mr. Roger Binny picking up Rahul Dravid when Rahul was young. Mr. Rahul Dravid. Who am I calling Rahul? Mr. Rahul Dravid. And Mr. Rahul Dravid picking you up and dropping you when you were sort of coming up the ranks.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, look, we belong to the same club, which is BUCC. And so obviously, even when we were playing the IPL, we had to come back when the club was struggling. And if we had not played that game to win that game, we would have probably gone to second division or something like that. So Rahul Dravid and me, basically from the IPL in 2 days, were playing again, batting together, just for our clubs. So it's strange. I mean,
that's a
2 days later,
I remember that article coming out. So, wow, this is what it was. Insane.
Yeah, so we were coming back to club cricket, and he played so much of cricket. All my dad's in the same club, and he'll call us up. But for him, I mean, the amount, even though it was club cricket, he took it so seriously. Where with club cricket, we go and play a few shots, but it was like, wanted to get 100 there as well, shining the ball. It's
amazing
to see. The love, respect he's got for that game.
And so have the both of you. I mean, when I look at you, I realize that, of course, y'all are married, y'all are together, etc. But y'all share the same professional space as well. I mean, it might not be the same office, but it's like y'all have your offices in the same building, if you'd like. It's almost like that. How's it been like to share professional spaces, Mayanti? I mean, you're in the studio, you're prepping for the game, he's prepping for the game, he's playing, you're on air. Have you had to watch your step when that's been happening? How's that been like?
I think we decided really early on that Stuart would keep information to himself. Like there's always this perception that I have the insight into team management, which I must be very honest that other players would tell me. right? Because you're part of the families, and they trusted me that I'm obviously not going to say anything, which I wasn't going to. But I think Stu kept that line very professional. So very often I really didn't know if he was going to play or not play, So that was just something that we decided is the right thing to do. And there was a lot of outside pressure on me to try and get the inside, which tends to happen. But I think that's a line I maintain. What was difficult for both of us was when we were and it's now funny in retrospect. I just think when you're playing for India, there's a tremendous amount of pressure and people are watching every step and move of yours. And Stuart got it more because of his name and being married to me. And he's not someone who speaks for himself because he says, let your actions on the field do the talking. And it would be really funny, like I would be entering the ground and then the players are warming up and every single person would turn around and say hello to me except for my husband. He'd just be directly avoiding eye contact, You're just like, because we're so worried about people saying, oh, see them talking to each other, those sort of things.
Yeah, because if you do get out second ball in that game, they're going to say, I spoke to her, I was not concentrating,
exactly.
right? So why even take the chance? So I used to just go do my stuff,
And they would all be coming back, hey, Mayanti, what's up, Mayanti? And this fellow just like looking the other way, So, but I think what got tough was that I hosted that game where he got 6-4. And if it was any other player, I think I would have played it up a whole lot more than I actually did.
Exactly.
And that was still not right. I think I should have played it up because it did deserve it. It was an Indian record at the time. And of course, the content team was like, kept pushing it. But my emotions were very, very in check. And that's a good thing. But had it been any other player, I would have been a little more, I think, excited. I was just so nervous about people's opinion on bias. And sorry, he's talking to his friends outside. And I think when he's had a tough match also, we've spoken about it. It's not that...
of course.
He's gotten out. I've spoken over the replays. And, I remember once you got run out in IPL.
Mayanti, don't bring up the run out. It hurts.
No, the late.
It hurts, doesn't it, Stuart? It really hurts. I've played like club cricket, but it hurts. Yeah, run outs hurt. No?
No, but what I meant
only way to get out. You can't run out so complete.
But I think once he got run out, and Dean Jones was always someone who was very particular about running between the wickets because that was his thing. And he was like, play it again. Tell your man this is not how you run. So the people that I was with in the studio loved to play on that. And of course, when he did well, they would also tease me on that. So when he was playing for India initially, I think it was really tough. We really didn't know what to say and how to behave. And, we were so worried about what people were saying. But I think we just took cues from people around us to know when to relax a little bit. Because now in retrospect, we've shared something that a handful of people in this world get to share.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's actually quite incredible to have been there together for World Cups, to have been there together for India matches, to have had a chance to host the match, his first test match at home, which happened to be at the Chinnaswamy, which is his home stadium, and me hosting that game. When you think back on these moments, it was really special.
Really special. Stuart, has it been the same case for you as well, where you've sort of, obviously the TV's on at times in the dressing room or, she's on air. Have you sort of just had one eye, one ear on what's going on the TV, or you've just never?
Not really. I mean, obviously, it's in the back of my head. I was not someone who watched a lot of shows, or especially after that was what was said, or whether I did well or even when I did badly. I was not someone who went to, I'm not someone who went and checked articles or was worried about, X, Y, Z taking me down or playing me up at that time. It was basically me focusing on what I had and working in that space, because that's what I did from the start, right? I mean, from the time I was 10 years old and started playing cricket, I had already had that with my dad, where I didn't pay too much attention to those people. And the same way when it came to her on television, I knew she had a job to do and I had a job to do as well. So my job was to score runs, right? And get wickets and perform. And some days it would never happen. And obviously she's got to talk about it. I know she's going to talk about it, but it didn't affect me in any way. I mean, I knew her heart was with me, but her profession has to kind of say stuff. So it just went with the flow. I mean, you wake up the next day and try and do it again.
How do
But
you
I
keep
have
it?
to,
Yeah, go on.
no, sorry, just to add on to what he's saying, that I
Yeah.
have to say that for whatever reason, there's a lot of negativity that we faced on social media for our individual performances. And I don't know where it's comes from. I don't understand the place that it comes from, because sometimes people have a bad day, right? And I think we faced a lot of that. And there are certain couples who do face a lot of that for some reason. So I always felt that no one outside, and it's not really their job to, but no one outside really said, listen, how cool that, there is a presenter who's married to a cricketer and they're kind of working together. No, it was always very negative. And that is something I still don't understand, because look, everyone gets flack on social media. It's part of our profession and we understand. But I really didn't understand, and I still don't understand where a lot of the negativity towards us and him comes from, because we haven't really been out there that much, and made
I think
comments
maybe
and
because we didn't, do the whole drama of us being a couple like this and doing it. I think they
Very
gave them
private.
some, yeah, we just did our stuff and did our roles and did our profession and out. We never put ourselves out there social media, doing this, traveling here, eating this, jumping in this pool. We don't. Yeah, I never did it. I mean, I didn't feel the need to do it. I was a private guy who came to my life, and I guess they wanted to find out all that, so obviously put it out there.
How do you stay so grounded, Stuart? It seems like you're very grounded, very relaxed, almost zen-like. Does it not trouble you? The
I
all.
wouldn't say Zen and all, but look, my dad is that personality as well.
You
He's
got that
someone who
from him.
never got excited. Yes, I think I did. Growing up, I watched my dad, and the good things people said about my dad being a gentleman, as on the field and off the field.
Yeah.
I think that really stuck with me when I was a kid. He had a lot of respect for people, manners. He treated people well. Even though a lot of people would have said stuff to him, he didn't really care. He just wanted to be that good person and grounded. And he always said, you will get a lot of stuff in your life which one day won't even, no one will even know. So, I mean, it will come and go at times like that. So as long as you can be, at one level through that, you don't have to fluctuate with it. So basically, you try and be stable, and then those things will happen. So you've got to still have that base.
That is wise.
That's what he said. So yeah, that's what I kind of did. I mean, I am a bit reserved that way, like my father as well. Even when there were times I wanted to speak out through my whole career.
Yeah.
At the end of it, with a bit of frustration and some things you want to say to people, but I felt that was not the time, for me to say stuff, because I am still playing cricket, and maybe when I'm done, there will be a time where you can say some stuff because you're done with that part of your life, I guess.
But honestly, I mean, we realize that it plays a big part in your everyday life, right? In your mental health and your well-being, because as individuals, Stuart, you're of course reserved and you go about your cricket and your home and you're with the family, and that's that. Mayanti, on the other hand, her profession involves being out there. It's important. She is out there. So it does take a toll, I'm sure, but it seems like both of you have found a coping mechanism to deal with it, right? To keep it out of the house. What would you advise someone, young couples that are in a similar space, someone like Sanjana Ganesan, who's just gotten married with Jasprit Bumrah? They're a young couple, they're both exceptional in what they do. What would you advise someone like them, in going about it, being a couple out there? What would you say to them?
First and foremost, I don't think Sanjana and Jasprit need any advice, because they're two very sorted individuals. And they did the right thing by keeping because it's a high profile relationship, they kept it very private, and so they did the right thing. And when they felt it was right to say that guys were married, that's what they did. And they will also be in that sort of situation which all cricket couples are in, irrespective of whether you're on camera or not. For us, very early on, we knew that how people respond to cricket is what we're going to invite into our homes and into our mental well-being. So it was really important for us to have that sort of communication from the start. That listen, this is how it's going to be. These are our lives, and we've been these people before we met each other. Now we're coming together. Don't expect me to not start traveling, or don't expect me not to start traveling for interviews, and don't expect me not to go on tours. Those sort of, or leave you for a very long. Those sort of things that can become issues. The thing is, we had to support each other. We were very happy to support each other. So that was what kept us, I think, very grounded when it came to the tough situations. And it's fine. That's what kept us very grounded when it came to the tough situations. And as far as mental health, Sumedh, it's still not easy. Even now, at times, it's still not easy. And it's very hard when you spend a significant amount of time away from your family. And primarily for cricketers, that's it. Even if you're playing domestic cricket, you're still traveling all the time. You're still missing huge chunks, and you're still spending days and nights alone in your hotel room and things like that. And same for me. I mean, the cricket just made me travel all over the world, and you have tough days and you're alone kind of dealing with it. You're not necessarily there with your partner, which is tough because sometimes you need someone physically there and that person is not there. So we both had to grow up a lot, I think, just dealing with those sort of emotions or the pressures that other people put on you by yourselves. And it's a good thing.
Does it clearly does take it clearly does take up significant, or not significant, but a certain amount of energy, right? On a day-to-day basis, you got to block comments, you got to take a sort of, even when you're posting things of that nature, it takes up some energy. How do you deal with it? Does it bother you?
Look, he and I are a little different on that. First and foremost, I think we both disable comments on Instagram for a reason. Stuart is not on Twitter, so he can't see anything. So thanks, baby. I get all the brunt of it. Everyone wants to say to you on Twitter also. Even if it's good messages, I get it.
You shut some people up really well, Mayanti. Well done on that.
The thing is, now, their time, look, people still cross the line. But now I try and take humor out of the situation, because my take on it is, if we think we are so fascinating, but we don't think we're that fascinating, and it's a great thing. I think Stuart, like he mentioned, because he's been brought up a certain way and his dad is a certain way, always went with the, I'm going to maintain a dignified silence about this. When the time is right, I'll say it. And I just feel that since he doesn't use those platforms as much as I do, that if I can poke fun and have a little bit of fun with the people who are trying to get a reaction out of us, I'll do it in a good natured way. Because a lot of people say things to get a bad reaction, and I don't want to unnecessarily lose my temper. But to say that it doesn't affect would be not the truth. I think it does.
It will get to you, obviously, when someone says something about your loved ones, or say something about your sport or your father or your wife. It does hurt you. But I think you've got to. I mean, what I did, I kind of shut that all off. I knew what I was doing. I knew what she was doing. I knew what my father was. So, I mean, for me, it didn't matter. Yes, you basically don't look at your phone for a few hours because you're irritated. But you just move on. As I said, you just feel like, let them say what they want. I've got a job to do, and my job was to be there for them and be there for my sport.
Yeah. I mean, looking at both of you, you realize that you're so incredibly accomplished individuals in your field, and together you have come together to make something so wonderful happen. And when you look at people trying to say things, of course, my theory on this is that they come from a very difficult place in life. If they have to say something really mean to someone on the internet, they must be hurting within, right? But to imbibe that empathy as well, right? It's not easy to be empathetic all the time and to say, okay, you feel bad for them. It's not easy, because people are coming up and they're saying trivial things about matters that really don't matter in the larger scheme of things in life.
I guess what you said is right. I mean, they are in a dark space, I guess. Just to say something what the top of your head is you've got to be in a space where you really don't care or you're really messed up to actually say something like that. I mean, I would, if I had to say something rude to someone, I would have to know that person, right? to know
Yeah.
the reaction of that person. Like
That's
if
how
I
you
wanted
and
to
I
say
think.
something to a friend,
Yeah,
or
but yeah,
I
yeah,
need to know them,
yeah,
how
yeah.
much you can say to them and how much you can push that person. See, as a cricketer, we all do it as captains or something. You've got to, push your player. You've got some things you've got to say to him to get him upset.
Yeah.
But you can't go over that. You've got to be like,
Yeah.
you've got to find that balance with that player. So
That's true.
that's what they don't do. They just come out and say stuff and think that it plays a part in our lives, which it actually doesn't.
But Sumedh and Stu, we're kind of expecting people to have etiquette when it comes to social media. And there's no such thing as etiquette in social media. Some
That's correct.
incredibly sorted individual also just pass comments because it's a trend. And that's the one thing we have to learn on social media.
Here's
that
the other child.
When something is trending, here's the other child. When the more demanding child. When something is trending, everyone just wants to jump on ship and have their own 2 cents about it, right? And everyone's just take it with a pinch of salt, because social media should actually be there. Like during the pandemic, I think social media has been great to get a lot of help to people, and that is what I believe. I believe in the power of social media to be able to reach people when you need it. I don't believe in the power of social media to bully people and harass people. And even there are people who I have met in person who literally 2 months ago had something nasty to say about us. And they'll come up to you with the same face, hey, how are you doing? And all of that. I'm like, didn't you just jump on board the whole let's bash minds?
Exactly what you're talking
about. So it's not necessarily people who are dark and twisted. It's just the cool thing to do, which
it's just
I
become
personally
it's just become human behavior now, isn't it?
acceptable.
Yeah, it's become acceptable. Anyway, I think we've spoken a whole lot about everything else, but clearly there is a wonderful present and a beautiful future that's waiting for the both of you, with him right there in the middle of everything, isn't it? What's coming next for the both of you? Mayanti, are you getting back to work anytime soon? What are your plans?
Physically, I don't think I can travel yet, because pandemic has made things really tough, and we still don't have help, and I think it would be very difficult with a baby in a bio bubble. So till things, it would be really tough, but I've started doing a little bit of stuff at home whenever the opportunity does present itself. So let's see. Maybe that's great. That's, I think, being able to do things at home. I really open. See, he's so excited.
Yeah, he is.
But
Mommy's not going anywhere.
Yeah, mommy's not going anywhere. But I mean, look, Stu's still playing and still traveling and putting himself out there. You should ask him how he's been playing. 18 years now. You should ask him how long he's
100 first-class games.
Yeah, close, very close. First-class games. Yeah, this day. Yes, Ranji Trophy. I've got 4 to go. To get to 100, but look, at the end of the day, it's how my body is and how I feel mentally. I don't want to wake up and drag myself to a cricket ground or cricket field. I think that's when your performance starts to go. You get frustrated in that period because you're not doing well, but you're dragging yourself there because you've got a little bit left. But I don't think I want to do that. I think I will take that call when I wake up and that first day dragging myself to that cricket ground. And I don't enjoy standing in the sun for 7 hours fielding. I mean, sometimes you'll be like, what am I doing here? Yeah, you get that feeling. But then you're able to push through that spell, push through that sweat, the pain. And that takes you again to get wicket, stuff like that. But what I'm saying is, I don't want to be just standing there and be like, Stuart, why don't you have a bowl? And I'm thinking,
I hear you.
I'm not in it for today. Once I think that feeling comes, I think that's when the time when I'm going to, hang my boots up, I guess. But as of now, I'm still enjoying it. I mean, even though my practice is a lot less, I don't practice as much because of this pandemic. You've got to squeeze everything in that 1-2 weeks of that camp, try and get everything done.
Yeah.
So it's a bit different, and obviously, I will be 37 in
2 days.
In 2 days.
2 days.
Your first birthday as a father as well.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Isn't it? It's your first birthday as a father. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Wow, you're looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's hasn't yet started eating cake and stuff like that. So that part is out. But obviously, it'll be nice to spend time with him.
Yeah.
Especially on even his birthday is going to be coming soon also after that.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll have some good times ahead, I guess.
What plans beyond cricket, Stu? Do you have plans beyond cricket, outside of cricket? or you still
Look,
right now in the present with cricket?
yeah, as of now, look, I've just finished my level 2 coaching with the NCA.
Oh,
So
congratulations.
yeah, thank you. So I'm a level 2 coach at the moment, and
Hmm.
I look to play maybe a year, two seasons,
Hmm.
and try and get into to first class coaching.
Wow.
Since I've been part of the Northeast now for 2
With Nagaland.
seasons
Hmm.
with Nagaland, I would like to start over there because I still feel that me coming to Karnataka or going to a state like that is not going to develop my skills as a coach, because
Mm.
you don't really coach in teams like that. It's more of
Just
a
guiding them.
mentor stuff,
Yeah, yeah, mental
role.
side of things.
People,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
X do this, Y do that. Okay, let's plan this.
You
But
want to
when it
get your
comes to
hands dirty, you want to get
yeah,
there.
with
Yeah.
Nagaland, you want to teach them what it is to
Mm.
play cricket.
Mm.
You're training, you're eating, you're sleeping. Everything has to
Wow.
come. It has to come from an experienced guy. So I mean, I've set up that part there, like the training and how you practice, what you practice for on that day, goals and stuff. But I still got to practice as well. But when you coach, you can really give everything to that setup. So my plan will be to start in the Northeast with these boys, so I can also
Mm.
develop my skills if needed in the
Mm.
future.
Mm. That's wonderful. And what are your goals together? What is it that you'll want to accomplish going forward? Have you thought about it? Care to speak about it, or is it private?
Bring
You want to
up
like?
well. I think, no, I think actually take the pressure off ourselves a little bit because it's the first time I've been doing this for 15 years. He's been doing this for 18 years. The last year is the first time I think I haven't had to take a flight every 3 days.
Mm.
There was a phase where I
Wow.
was sometimes taking flights twice a day because, we live in Bangalore. My office was in Bombay and I would be flying into the studio working and flying back home the same day. And we've managed to do things like, build a house and all this while we've been working. And it hasn't really been easy. It's not healthy to
Mm.
live that sort of lifestyle for 4 years, which is what I did and what both of us did. So we haven't put pressure on ourselves to think of the next step just yet because very clearly the next step has come to us.
He
And
is
if it
here.
means we
Yeah.
take time off and enjoy, because just like that, it's almost been a year, and when the time is right, whether we want to do something together, we'll think about. But at the moment, I think
Yeah.
if we can just enjoy being parents and let Stu's got 2-3 very crucial years left, especially
Mm.
physically left if he wants
Mm.
to continue to
Mm.
play. And I think that's really important because honestly, if I can work from home for now, that's fine, and I can always return to the field later. But for him, it's a really crucial time.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, I think he's only got a very limited period physically, as he told you before, so that he can continue to play. I mean, it's completely up to him how long he wants to. So I think we're both in that phase right now. And it's sometimes nice to slow down because, that's maybe what is destined for me at least.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's on a slightly different path, which is fine
Yeah.
because we've
Yeah.
always done things together.
Mm.
And it's not necessary that both of you have to be going full speed all the time. And
Yeah.
that's okay with us. So I think it's really crucial for Stu to kind of complete his journey the way he wants to do it, in as much time. And as for us starting something together, when the time is right, we'll do it. We'll just enjoy.
Yeah. Tell me about that. What do you have something in mind, or you don't want to reveal it?
We don't know yet.
But the interest is there. There is the heart's desire to do something together professionally at some point.
I mean, it's an option. Right?
Yeah, it's an option. I mean,
It's an option.
since
Yeah.
her knowledge
Fair.
of television and stuff like that, and if I can chip in as an expert to probably do shows on some cricket, something like that.
Wow. Oh, that's
Option.
nice.
I mean, it's something that we kind of just thought about, but it's really difficult if with him also. The time we need since we don't have help. Can't keep running away from all the shows. And timings of matches are scheduled and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So let's see. I mean, it's something we've thought about. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's very clear that both of you are at this point grounded in the present. It's about living each moment as it comes at this point of time, right? That's where the focus is. Because you both have been running so much in your lives. Now you found the time to slow down.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, at least we've had trying to do normal stuff,
Mm.
Suddenly just living out of a suitcase for like 11 months in a year, you really don't know what
God.
home is.
Yeah.
You don't know what it is to run a home also. But now, I
Mm.
mean, we kind of, I think it'll be hard to get back into that
Really?
life now.
You think
We're
so?
running. Yeah, I mean, there's obviously you're going to miss home much more, I guess, once you leave
Absolutely.
again.
Yeah.
Because you're still used to everything right now and the way
Yeah.
things are. So,
But I
So,
think you have to be realistic that the pandemic
mm,
has changed things for a lot of people, and
mm,
that is what is kind of dictating terms for us. And if
mm,
we are fortunate enough to be doing okay in that, then we need to just be really grateful for that situation.
mm.
And the safety of our loved ones at this moment is more important than anything else. And so
Yeah.
that's us being realistic right now, that you can
Mm.
only do what you can do. And
Yeah. It's so
you just have to
important.
have the patience that, look, it's going, whatever you want in the future is going to come when the time is right,
Yeah,
so
when the time is right, absolutely. Also, formative years for your child as well, isn't it? It's you really get the opportunity to shape how his young life at least will pan out.
correct.
That's
Yeah.
very important. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
and Nana, he's shaping us.
really.
We're not doing
It's
any shaping.
I've
Baby
actually
is
heard.
boss right now.
Wow, I've actually heard this from a lot of parents. Like the child changes them as opposed to the other way around. How's that been
Yeah, yeah,
like?
for sure.
Stuart, what have
It's
you
been good.
seen in Mayanti that has changed in the last year and a half?
No, it's just
Has
the
she
way
changed?
she's definitely changed. Her priorities are all baby now, It's
Oh,
she's hands on, like from the time he wakes up till the time he goes to sleep at 8 o'clock in the night.
wow.
You really, I saw a different side, obviously, because she was, that's what her work was. Her work was so
Mm,
intense, the research going through it, going through all the stuff, the stats, preparing for the show to look good as well. But now everything is on him basically.
yeah.
The time she doesn't have much time for herself because of the life and the time that he needs from her. So obviously
Mm,
she's done like an amazing job. I mean,
yeah.
words can't describe what she's done, for
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
I think that's been okay.
Yeah, I know, but sometimes a lot of people will struggle with balancing that out. But I think
Mm,
for her, it was
mm.
just him. Work was out of the window for that period.
That's beautiful. Manti, but Stuart has been a papa and he continues to be a papa, right? Nothing's
Yeah,
changed.
yeah. No, I mean, of course, it's changed.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. Of
Yeah.
course. Yeah.
No, I'll tell you what. See, he was always very parental. Like he had that
Yeah.
instinct to be a dad. He was great
Yeah.
with kids. So that
Mm,
was just natural that I expected from him. But you need to be a different sort of husband when your wife has just gone through pregnancy and
mm,
delivery,
mm, mm.
and those sort of things are. I think that puts a tremendous amount of pressure on a new father because you're adopted to that role, and then you're also adopting to trying to support your wife to those things. And he's been an absolute champion. I mean, he was like coaching me in the labor room, and things like that,
Wow.
where things
Wow.
get very real and very tough. That is when someone needs to stand up and look after you, and those are things that I always knew he had in him. But then to see him
Mm.
do it, it's and just take
Mm.
control and take charge, and he's done that, and that's, as we mentioned earlier, I think both of us have been put in situations because we haven't had the help. We just had to get over our fears and say, let's do it. And even if we make a mistake, let's do it. We'll never know if we're good at it unless we try.
Mm. He's having a conversation with you, is he?
See, we're
He wants another
multitasking.
spoon of food, so I'm telling her he wants another spoon.
No, and I think he wants your undivided attention. I'm taking up all of his time, so I'm going to run real soon. Before we
He
go,
said he wants to be in front of the camera.
really,
All the talk of third generation test cricket, let me tell you, he really enjoys screens quite a bit. So
really,
you
a
never
sign of things to
know.
come. Mayanti, you never know. We might be looking back at this clip in the future and thinking, "Wow, the roots were already there." You know what I'm
Already
saying?
there.
In 20
Yeah. No,
years' time.
I'll actually be very happy if he takes over. Why not? If he has the gift
Yeah.
of the gab, it'll be great. Yeah. Let's see. We'll see what happens. For all you know, he'll just want and end up wanting to be like a chef or something like that, and
Never
we're
know.
sorted for life. We never have to
Never
cook
know.
again.
Never know. Never know. Is that your heart's desire secretly? So he grows up to be and make good food at home.
Yeah, I
But
want to be like a great homemaker, so we don't have to do anything.
amazing. Yeah, that'll be wonderful. But on the macro, what's the kind of life you want for him? Not in terms of career, what he'll do, but what do you want his life to stand for? Have you thought about it?
Yeah, I mean, we have thought about it. Look, everything that we have done professionally has, of course, been for ourselves, but it was always for our future. And we were fortunate enough to, build a home and do, settle our roots before he was born and before he came into the picture, because it was always for our future. So we've done that, and we will continue to want to provide the best that we can for him. And look, as an individual, he's going to grow up in really great times where you have to be open-minded about everything and about everything. So that's something that I would want to encourage with him. He has a great mix of culture and tradition and religion when it comes to two of us, and that's what he's going to grow up with. So his exposure to that is going to be quite a bit. And we will, as parents, have to keep a very open mind that I don't want to shape any decisions for him. Until he's old enough to take them for himself. So that's something I think we'll try and do consciously.
Amazing. I mean, it's been such a pleasure to speak to both of you. You're so grounded in the present, and clearly what you've built together, despite being so busy and so involved individually together, is really inspiring, and it's really wonderful. Honestly, just all the best for everything. And Stuart, please keep passing on some tips to me as and when the time comes. I want to be ready. It's not going to come anytime soon, but it will. I can sense it. But I'm going to be reaching out to you for some tips or the other, right? I hope that's okay.
Oh, sure. Anytime.
And Mayanti, I mean, really, obviously, this is the first time we're meeting, and it's been such a pleasure to meet the both of you. I've really enjoyed this. I hope you have.
We've had a great time. Thank you. Awesome.
Clearly, so is he.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad. I really am. Like you said, he enjoys screen time, but I hope he didn't mind my voice as well. So thanks a lot, the three of you, for being on the podcast. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks so much, Sumedh.
Appreciate it. Thank you. This was the cricketnews.com podcast, season 3, a Hubhopper original with me, Sumedh Bilgi. Stay tuned. We will be bringing you season 4 real soon. Hang around.